Hey guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much. I greatly appreciate it. This is the daily reading for Monday, the 15th of November. It is not solely set for that date. There is flexibility with these readings. If you're seeing it on a date that's different than the 15th, that's okay. If it applies to your life or it makes sense in some way, utilize it to the best of your ability. Please check the drop-down menus on any of my daily videos. That shows you a little bit about what decks I'm using, how to get in contact with me via social media for private readings. Also, just some house rules I want you to keep in mind when watching my videos. If you enjoy my videos, please hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to me, and share the channel out. Let other people know that I am here doing these readings, and I do them every day. This is a collective reading for all signs. It's a shared energy that we sort of have available to us. You'll hear me referring to the underpinning cards, which are the cards that were read on Sunday. Those are like sort of the energies that are at play in the background amongst these cards throughout the week. So keep that in mind. If you're interested in watching Sunday's video, that will show up on the bottom of the left-hand side of the screen, I believe, when the video ends. That will give you more insight into what you're looking at as the week of the week as a whole, right? Like kind of what's going on underneath it. So let's see what the cards have to say today. Okay, interesting. We have the Five of Cups. Five of Cups is a bit of a forlorn card. It is emotions, it's water, right? It's cups, so it is a little bit of a sad card. The thing with the Five of Cups is that two cups are always upright and three are flipped over, right? And it seems as though the person that is upset about the loss of the three cups can't necessarily get beyond looking at the negative to see the positive, that he still has three cups in front of him, or sorry, two cups full behind him. Or in this case too, also very similar to a traditional tarot reading or tarot design, there's a river right there where he can fill up his cups again if he needs to, right? But he feels a little bit bound. We might feel tied to something emotionally right now that feels heavy to us. There could be a decision weighing heavy on us, or a decision we feel as though we can't necessarily make. This kind of coincides a bit with that King of Swords energy that we had on Sunday, where I felt like there was a reluctance or a resistance within that king. There might be something that we're not saying or that we're aware of, that we know of, some sort of knowledge that we're not sharing. And the very reason why we might not be sharing it is because it might, no pun intended, overturn our cups a little bit. It might upset the apple cart. And I think that we're aware about that. I get a distinct feeling that we have been let down in some way, maybe by another party or situation. But in doing so, or in seeing that and in experiencing that, I kind of get the feeling with this card and with that king from yesterday, because he would be the underpinning energy, is we're holding it within ourselves. I don't necessarily know that that's a bad thing, right? It's better than us sort of lashing out and making things worse. But he is definitely sort of in his feelings, let's say, or in his caught up in sort of what's not working rather than maybe what could or is working. Because always with the Five of Cups, there's always that portion of the design of the original, initial design that has two full cups standing behind him that he can't see because he's too busy focused on the worry, the neglect, the argument, whatever it is that we're focused on, right? So we need to keep that in mind. Interesting, both of these cards showed up in a private reading I just did yesterday. The Urban Crow Oracle is the word survival. And what I find is interesting here, there's a fox, which is very much clever, right? I associate foxes with cleverness, being swift and clever. I'm going to read you the definition of this card because I don't necessarily know it, but what I like about this is even though we might be down, we're not out, right? Even though that crow is perched below that fox and possibly feels like, I don't know, like a victim or prey to that fox, and maybe he's in a tight situation or can't get out, tight, i.e., those ropes tied around whoever, emotionally, whatever we're dealing with, we can get free. Both of these cards actually showed up in this person's reading, so it's interesting to me. And this is not like a little bit of a continuation of what I was trying to tell them yesterday. So I'm going to read Survival. Let's see what that has to say. The King of Swords is going to be analytical in all of this, but there's some emotions involved with the Five of Cups, and so there might be a little bit of I don't know. Like I get this distinct feeling that this might not be the best day for people as I'm looking at these two cards together. Let me see what Survival has to say. The crow is trapped in a bush as the hungry fox patiently waits for his meal. When we are in survival mode, we are restricted. We, like the crow, cannot fly. The card calls your attention to how you are feeling about a situation. Are you hunkered down, waiting for the threat to be over, or are you moving, doing your best to find a path out? And that's kind of also sort of similar to the meaning of the Five of Cups. It's like, are we focusing on what's wrong, what's bad, what's, harmed us, or are we looking at the fact that the river's right there? We can either refill our cups, or we have two cups that still have water in them. Yes, he's bound, but he has an umbrella, right? Like, so he's somewhat protected, similar to how the brambles and the flowers are protecting the crow. If we go to worst case scenario, worst case scenario could certainly play out. But with that sort of held back King of Swords that I saw in the early part of the week, it says to me, look at this analytically rather than emotionally. Look at this from a practical standpoint. Look at this from all different angles so that you can more clearly see what your options are, even if your options feel limited right now. They're not as limited as you think. Let me see what's going on with the grounding stone. And the grounding stone is on malachite, which is associated with the fourth chakra. The word is touch. As much as the King of Swords is analytical and logical and intelligent, right, which we all have about ourselves, there's something going on underneath this that we need to sort of bring our heart and our emotions into it, even if they feel murky and messy, even if it brings frustration and fear. This idea of touch, to me, feels like it's asking us to blend the strength and the logical nature of the King of Swords with the compassion of our heart and to touch base with where we're truly at, right? Do we feel stuck? Do we feel miserable? Is there a way out? But we're not going to be able to find it if we don't sit still with that emotion or that feeling and really look at it and begin to analyze it through the logic of the King of Swords, right? The King of Swords will steer you in the right direction. But this might be something, I get this distinct feeling, because also this crow is sort of trapped a little bit, so is this man. And that King of Swords card from yesterday was very much felt pulled back, seated in his chair, like holding back. We might feel like we're alone on this one. And there may be a reason for that. Like, if it's a decision that needs to be made, it's your decision to be made. Does that make sense? If it's a change that needs to be made, you're in charge of that change, but you have to sort of ground in doing it from a place that's emotionally stable. That's sort of what I get from this green touchstone. Do it from your heart rather than from fear. Also, that green malachite stone associates with healing, so I think whatever it is we are looking at, grappling with, dealing with, if we use the logic and the intelligence of the King of Swords and move our way through this, don't avoid it, but move our way through it and process it and actually deal with it, we will survive, and B, we'll be better off for it. Does that make sense? I hope that does. That is your reading for today, you guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. If anything doesn't make sense, feel free to leave me a comment. I do read them all. Help share the readings out so people get to know that I'm here. It greatly helps me in the channel. And for those of you that are having a harder day, just hang in there. Stay in that compassion and you'll be all right. Take care. Bye-bye.